Okay, so this one's going to get personal. I'm a person with a uterus, and like many, I was shocked, stunned, saddened, scared, angered, and just distraught when the US Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade and stripped American women of the right to abortion care. And I use that word care really intentionally. Abortion is healthcare. It's a procedure that's often life-saving for pregnant people with specific medical conditions. And even beyond that, abortion allows women and other people who can become pregnant the ability to determine their own fate. This is why access to abortion is often referred to as reproductive rights. It's a human right to determine what happens to our own bodies and our own lives. So, in this moment where access to abortion care is dwindling in the US and in other parts of the world, I got to thinking, what would a world with universal access to reproductive rights look like? How would universal access to abortion care change our world? Would it make it a better place to be? Hint, yes it would. So let's see how. I'll note that almost all of my info in this video comes from an amazing report from the Brookings Institute that synthesizes decades of social and economic research into the impacts of abortion care. Seriously, so much great info. The link to the report is in the description below. It's worth a read because there's no way I can cover every point, and they're all excellent. But okay, how does access to abortion impact individual lives and society at large? Number one, access to abortion decreases maternal mortality, like a lot, especially for Black women, whose mortality rate decreases by as much as 40% when they have access to abortion. 40%! That's huge, especially in the midst of the growing maternal mortality crisis in the US, which is even worse for Black women. So why does abortion access help here? Simply put, being pregnant is dangerous. There are all sorts of things that can go wrong, and giving people the ability to choose to terminate their pregnancy saves a lot of pain and even death. Number two, abortion access increases women's educational attainment, labor force participation, and earnings. And all of these effects are particularly large for Black women. Moral of the story? Restricting access to abortion holds people back economically. In fact, one study comparing women who had access to abortion to those who did not found that when women were turned away from a wanted abortion, they experienced substantial financial distress, including a 78% increase in past due debts and an 80% increase in public records related to bankruptcies, evictions, and court judgments. This makes sense when we know that a large percentage of women seeking abortions are already in financial distress. Hence the reason they're not so keen to bring a child into the world. So basically, by denying women access to abortion, we're really just saying, yes, yes, we know you're struggling, but F you. Number three is a doozy. Abortion access leads to reduced cases of child neglect and abuse, reduced numbers of children living in poverty, and improved long-run outcomes of children and entire generations by increasing the likelihood of going to college and reducing the likelihood of living in poverty and receiving public assistance. Like, whoa, we can help entire generations of people escape poverty by giving their parents access to abortion? Like, is that actually the key to solving America's poverty crisis? It's almost like lawmakers don't want to solve America's poverty crisis. Number four, beyond strictly looking at abortion, there are studies that show that when women have greater power and autonomy, they have better health. This has huge implications in the West, where chronic health conditions are on the rise, at the same time that women's autonomy is being taken away. If lawmakers were really concerned about the health and well-being of their citizens and the economic impacts of chronic health conditions, they would not be systematically stripping women of the ability to make choices about their own bodies. So, to sum up, what would a world with unrestricted access to abortion look like? It would be a world where people of all genders can participate fully in society on their own terms. Less pregnant people would die during pregnancy. Women would achieve greater educational and economic success. Entire generations of children would be lifted out of poverty. And more people would have greater health even into old age, decreasing the strain on the world's healthcare systems. Sounds great, right? So, what's the holdup? Today's call to action is a simple one. Understand what access to abortion looks like where you live. What restrictions are in place? Then advocate to your lawmakers. Remove restrictions to abortion care. Abortion is healthcare, and more than arguably any other medical procedure I could name, it has huge economic and societal impacts that allow more people to live better, freer lives. So go out there, educate yourself, agitate for action, and let's make the future better, freer, and weirder.